In this video, I am going to tell you the story about the time I panicked while flying a helicopter. This is the first video in a new series that I'm starting. It's going to be called Saturday Stories, where I'm just going to share stories about my helicopter adventures and things I've experienced as a helicopter pilot. This is the first one, so we'll see how it goes. Let me know down in the comments below if you like this content. For anyone that doesn't know, my name is Devin. I'm a helicopter air ambulance pilot. I'm 24 years old. My path to becoming a helicopter pilot is I went to flight school in Hawaii, which is going to become very relevant as I start this story. And now I work as a helicopter air ambulance pilot. So this story about me panicking begins in Hawaii. I went to flight school at a flight school called Mauna Loa Helicopters that was on the Big Island of Hawaii. And when this story takes place, it's actually during my commercial training. So I had already done my private, and now I've moved on to my commercial. I'm building flight hours, getting experience, doing all the different tasks that you have to do to go for your commercial pilot check ride. So what happened here is we were going on our night flight, the long night cross country. So there's a requirement for your commercial that you go on a long night cross country. I don't remember the exact distance, but what we did for our flight is we were on the west side of the island at Kona International Airport, and we had to go around to the other side of the airport to Hilo International Airport. And this was like the standard flight that everyone did on their night flight. Now, a little bit of important context for this is all of my private training, most of my private training, I think, yeah, all of it, I had done in the R-22, the Robinson R-22. Now, this is a smaller two-seat helicopter. It's the helicopter I was very comfortable with. For commercial, we would do a little bit of stuff in the Robinson R-44, which is a bigger helicopter. Still, the R-22 is my primary helicopter, but we would do some, like, certain types of flights in the R-44, but I wasn't really that comfortable with it, and it just felt different. It had hydraulics, it was bigger, it just felt like a different helicopter, so I wasn't that comfortable with it. So we were going to go on my night cross-country flight, me and my instructor, from Kona to Hilo, and I was very excited for this. This is like such a cool flight. Nighttime, long, flying the big helicopter. And out in Hawaii, you have to have like the perfect weather conditions. So it can't be too windy, it can't be too cloudy. You have to have a certain amount of moon illumination. So there's certain metrics, and there's only a certain time of the month that we can really get this flight done. So when everything comes together and it's actually going to happen, you're really excited. So I was really excited. Me and my instructor briefed everything. I had my flight plan. I knew exactly where we were going to go on the airport or go on the flight. So we get to the airport. I do my pre-flight. Me and my instructor are all set. So we get in the helicopter, start up, everything's normal. I'm still not that comfortable with the R-44 at this point. Maybe I had a couple hours in it, but I just really wasn't that comfortable. Now, a helicopter is a helicopter, but it did feel different. So we get through the startup sequence, and then we're ready to go. And it's dark out. Like, it's like properly dark out at this time. Maybe it was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So we take off, and takeoff is fine. And then we start climbing. And we climb to maybe about 1,000 feet, and we're probably going to continue to climb up to maybe 2,000, 3,000 feet. I don't remember. But right as we pass through about 1,000 feet, and like we're actually at altitude now, all of a sudden I start to panic, and the panic sets in, and I start freaking out. And I'll explain exactly what happened. So on the Robinson R-44 that I was flying, the instrument panel had a very bright Aspen unit GPS. Now, this is a very bright display. I didn't really think much of it when we were on the ground at the airport because there were lots of lights around, a lot of artificial lighting. But as soon as we climbed up away from everything, I got blinded by this Aspen unit. And all I could see in my field of view was this bright light, and I could see nothing around. So in a helicopter, your field of reference or your field of view is super big. So it's like all glass. You've got glass all the way in front of you to the side. And that was all black because it's Hawaii, and we were not over the water at this time. But as far as the eye could see, it was just dark ocean, dark sky, dark land. Now, we were over land, but it was all dark. Everything was black. And all I could see was this Aspen unit. So I got what is called spatial disorientation. I went spatially disoriented. I was not oriented to where we were. At that moment, I could not tell you if we were upside down, turning, spinning. My heart's racing as I tell the story. I couldn't tell the position of the aircraft, and I panicked. Now, I didn't do anything with the controls. I was flying, and I just kind of held it. And the thing is, this whole panicking situation lasted maybe 15 seconds. The spatial disorientation lasted 15 seconds, and nothing changed. And I don't even think my instructor knew that the internal panic I was experiencing at this time. Because as soon as we climbed up, we both realized, oh yeah, this Aspen unit display is too bright. We need to turn it down. So he started working on that, and I'm just flying. Just taking a quick break to let you know I've put together a bunch of resources to help you out on your helicopter pilot journey. Whether you're brand new, already training, or trying to make it as a professional pilot, I've got something for you. You can download my free helicopter pilot career roadmap, ask me questions anytime, or even book a one-on-one coaching call with me if you want personalized guidance. Basically, it's everything I wish someone had given me when I started. Just click the link below to check it out. Trust me, it'll save you a ton of time and headaches. All right, let's get back to the story. For anyone that doesn't know what spatial disorientation is or what it feels like, spatial disorientation is you just, like I kind of already explained, you don't know the orientation of your body or the aircraft. I couldn't tell what the helicopter was doing, and this unawareness of what position the helicopter is in is the most utterly terrifying experience I've ever felt. I felt I couldn't breathe. I didn't have any thoughts. Actually, I did, and this is kind of dark, but the only thought I had was like, I'm going to die. This is death. This is the last moment I have before I die. There was nothing wrong with the helicopter. There was nothing wrong. We're just chilling, cruising along. Instructor was good. He was just working on the screen. He was making sure everything was safe. But I'm sitting in the helicopter and I'm like, I'm going to die. This is the last moment. And I've never experienced a thought like, this is what it feels like when I'm about to die. But it's just like utter panic. And it's a really, really terrible sensation. So as soon as the screen came down, as soon as the brightness of the screen came down and my eyes kind of start to adjust, I could tell that we were in a safe orientation. And on the Aspen unit itself, there was an attitude indicator. So I knew that we were in a safe attitude. We were holding level. Our airspeed was fine. Our altimeter was fine. Actually, I take that back. I honestly couldn't even tell you what the Aspen unit said because the things that were running through my brain were just panic. And this is why there's a couple learning lessons here. There's a couple things that I took away from this, but I have instrument flight experience and I've flown in the clouds. And one of the things they teach you is focus on your instruments. Like if you go inadvertent IMC and you lose your spatial awareness, they say focus on your instruments, which is all true. And this is what I teach and I know how to do this. But the interesting thing that I learned in this moment was when you panic, like when you have this sense of panic and fear and doom and death around you, it's very hard to focus on your instruments. You don't even know to focus on your instruments. You don't even know to fly. You're just in a panic moment. And it was very quick and, relatively fast. I got my senses about me, but it was a scary, scary, scary situation. And this is not like a very common thing or experience. If you want to become a helicopter pilot, don't be afraid. It's actually a really important learning lesson that some pilots have to experience is like when things go weird and you feel weird and you have to learn. I learned a ton. I mean, it made me way more cautious about night flying and IMC and invert and IMC because I never want to experience that again. I never want to be in the position where I have to, where I panic because I'm not in control of the situation. So as soon as I got my wits about me and everything was fine, I never said anything to my instructor because I just like kept on rolling, kept on moving. But the other thing that I noticed is like panic and exhaustion take a lot out of you. Like it is very emotionally draining. Like I was tired for the rest of the flight. Like it was also a night flight. I mean, so I had that going on. And the other thing is this was a night flight. So maybe I'm sure I probably tried to nap before this night flight, but at the end of the day, when you're not like your best, you're not your sharpest self, you've been thinking all day, you've been active, your brain can more, I think it makes sense in my head that your brain could more easily panic and lose orientation of what you're doing because you're just more tired. When you're sharp and alert, it's less likely. That makes sense in my head. I don't know if that's actually true. A couple takeaways that I just want to share about this is know your instruments and know your displays. So we were able to obviously figure it out and set the brightness down, but I didn't know how big of a deal this was and what that could cause. A very bright screen in your aircraft can cause, on a dark night, can cause you to panic or freak out or be spatially disoriented because you're blinded by this screen. So know your instruments, know your screens, know how to set the dimming. That is one thing. I know how to set the dimming on all of my avionics now, because I will never let that happen again. I will always make sure that I'm able to see out and that I'm not blinded by my avionics. That feeling of fear that I had is something I've never, I don't think I'll ever get rid of it, and I never want to. I want to know what that feeling of fear is. And this, I don't ever really, never really have a feeling of like pure fear and terror. But just something that I wanted to mention is, like, in your aviation training or your pilot training, it is normal to have a moment where you're like, what the heck am I doing right now? Like this moment of like fear and scaredness, and like everything could have been fine the moment before, and then all of a sudden, like, you just like see how high you are, how vast the expanse is, or that you're just like hanging on by these blades spinning above you, and you can have this moment like, what am I doing? And I think it's normal. It's got to be natural for your body to be like, this is not a normal position to be in. Humans don't do this. So just know, from my experience, like, just know that that's like normal. Students experience that, and everything's okay with that. So let's see. I think that's everything I wanted to share in this story. An interesting story. I learned a lot from it. You know, all the situations that I've been in, like as a pilot, that I've learned from, I always go back and I ask myself, like, do I regret getting into that situation, or do I regret how that happened? And like this specific night panic situation, do I regret it? No. Is there anything I could have changed? Yeah, I mean, we could have pre-dimmed the screen, but we didn't really think it was like a problem at the time. We were obviously focused on other things, and we just didn't correlate. Like, the screen's pretty bright, and as soon as we pull up, or at least I didn't, maybe the instructor did, but as soon as we pull up, this is going to become a problem. But would I go back and change the situation? No, I wouldn't, because the takeaways from hard lessons learned are so incredibly valuable, and the takeaways from this about night flying, spatial disorientation, panic, fear, incredibly valuable. So if you found yourself enjoying this video, smash the like button. Go check out this video where I talk about 9 mistakes I've made as a helicopter pilot. If you're thinking about becoming a helicopter pilot, check out the roadmap down below that I mentioned earlier. That is a free download. There's also a bunch of products down on my stand store that you can check out. If you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Have you ever had a freak out moment in an aircraft? Have you ever had a situation where things just didn't feel right? It's normal, it's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad pilot or anything. It's actually part of the process, and it's also abnormal for humans to be up in the sky thousands of feet above the ground. So as you're learning those feelings, it's okay. But I want to hear all of your thoughts down in the comments below. I will see you on the next one. Take care.